Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. My name is Leaf, and I am so thankful for you all to be joining me today. Now, today is a bit of an interesting concept. It's actually a more eco-centric kind of house, as you could probably tell from the title. I designed this after a blueprint of a house that I saw online, and the type of house that actually is called a dog trot house. So one half of the house was used for typically cooking and dining and generally hosting other people over, and the other half of the house is used more as a private living space. And you can see the way that you separate the two by this sort of screen and porch that you see me put in the middle of this right here. And just going forward, I just wanted to give this a real emphasis on being connected to the outside. I really want to have this place have a lot of fresh air flowing through the house itself, and I generally wanted a nice bright house to go along with it. You can see me start to fiddle around with the colors right here. I eventually settle on a nice dark green to make up the base of the house, and a complementary blue on the side over there. And here I just go around the house putting in windows and stuff. I did something different this time around. I actually planned the inside of the house before I put on most of the other windows. I just generally found myself trying to finagle myself trying to fit all the windows in to the general house plan after building the house itself, and I just wanted to give myself a little new challenge this time around. I don't really want to do a modern house this time around, so you do start to see me fiddle with these kind of really ugly looking floral wallpapers and the base color wallpapers that go on to match it as well. All in all, I didn't really go into the house with a direct plan, if it were. I sort of just saw this blueprint on Pinterest, and I just saw myself kind of trying my best hand at it. I made one of these houses a little bit before as kind of a test run, and I think it came out pretty much well, so I tried myself in doing another one, and I think this one comes out even better than my first one. You can start to see me fiddle around with some of the interiors right now. I mostly use a lot of carpeting for most of the living space just because it seems like a house that would get kind of cold in the winter, and I just wanted to make sure that it still had a little bit of warmth to it. And generally in the winter, in an environment like this house would probably get a little bit too cold for you to hang out outside by the fire or even in the greenhouse, which I do add later on. But I just wanted to make sure that not only was the outside inviting, but the interior as well. I'm starting to work on the kitchen and dining room right over here. I combined the two in this, I think that's a 7x7 room. I could be completely mistaken, but it's fine. I put in a circle dining table here just because any other shape and it just wouldn't look exactly right. So right now I'm moving on outside. I had a little bit of a problem with the roofing out here, but I eventually figure out my best hand at it. So I'm working on a greenhouse, and a greenhouse is something that I've wanted to add to a house for a long time now. I just fell in love with eco lifestyle, and I just really wanted to take that ball running. I really just wanted to emphasize that green living sort of emphasis that pack really brought to The Sims. Going forward, I try and combine a little bit of wood elements into this as well. I don't think they come off too much when you actually are in game, but I think just the small details in it make this little greenhouse area in the back come all together all too well. Now, going back to what I said earlier, I really wanted to make the exterior of the house a bit more of the focal point than the interior. I wanted a bigger emphasis on outdoor living, and I wanted to make this a place where your Sims would happily go outside to do whatever they wanted. You can see me start to decorate the interior of the greenhouse itself. I throw in a bunch of planters, and I throw a couple potted plants in there as well as some seating just to make sure that you're able to use this space however you want. In the end, I think it comes off looking kind of barren, but once your Sims are actually in there and making use of all the planters, then the space will truly start to light up. But I think once your Sims are actually in this place and actually making use of all the planners that I've incorporated in here, then it will look absolutely stunning and really come off as a well-loved place. Going around the rest of the yard now, I start to work on a little fire pit, and I throw a grill in there just for good measure. I'm going around the house adding some sconces, some general lighting and such. I would typically use those not so subtle saucer lights just all around the house, but I think that lighting actually is a really important part to this. And I don't want to skimp on making my build look even better than it originally would if I just ignored using lights to my advantage. Now you can see me go around the house and start to put in some plants and flowers using my palette technique that I developed over some other building games. And you can see me start to use a heavy influence of yellow and purple. Now, I don't really know why I chose this palette to begin with, but I think in the end it comes off as a really nice, really bright build. You can see me start to incorporate some of the lavender in there, and you can see me start to use some of the daisies as well, and I finish it off with a few sunflowers up in front. I think that having these palettes when you're building is a really beneficial thing when it all comes together. Just having this concise patterning of having the same flowers over and over again, but making sure that they don't look too repetitive is a really great way and really great technique of building, and it might make your builds take from a 8 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. Here I am just working on a lot more of the actual terrain painting inside the lot itself. I fell in love with the gravel spray paint for the ground, and I think it really makes it look a lot more lived in. I think it works a lot more better than the tiles. I feel like Sims 4 has a wonderful terrain painting tool, and I love using it for every single one of my builds. Now this is a little something I didn't want to mention at first, but I did add in a skylight to the little porch area, and I just took it out because overall it just didn't look too good. And I feel like having a solid roof over that porch area makes a whole house come together really well. And it also goes on to embrace the greenhouse all the way in the back and make sure that that stands out as well. Here I am just going through the rest of the house, adding some curtains, adding some plants, just making the place look a lot more lively. I typically never really used to do these in my builds, but I think right now with this video format, it's taking a lot of my builds to even greater levels than I ever pictured before, and even just helping me do a lot more small decorating, even just adding like these lights in the backyard, for example, which you'll see in just a couple seconds after I add a couple trees in. I think it also pays off in the end and makes the whole house come together as a really nice product. Just adding a lot more lighting in the backyard right now just to make sure that you're using this area of space all the times of the day. Just these string lights that came with, I think they might have come with City Living, but could be something else. Got into all of the pictures, all 2 of them that I took of this lot. No live section today. I am sorry about that, but I think that this entire build comes together really nicely, and it'll be a nice place for your Sims to move into. I thank you all for watching today, and I hope you all have wonderful days. Take care.